submarines is going to be incredibly expensive and draw huge amounts of money, is already drawing huge amounts of money out of our extremely shrunken conventional defenses. And to spend all your money on a nuclear weapon for a war which won't happen is like spending all your money on insurance against alien abduction and ignoring the insurance against... Well, let me finish my point.
Hold on.
Ignoring the insurance. It is, I will start again because the contrast has to be made. It's like spending all your money on insurance against alien abduction and then neglecting to insure yourself against fire and theft.
Okay, Peter, have you finished now?
I have finished that point, yes.
Excellent.
It's handy not to be interrupted in mid-point.
Be right back to you.
No, I didn't interrupt you in mid-point, Peter. Come on, I was timing it because I always like timing how long people are speaking. But anyway, Peter is charming and delightful and very clever as usual. I'm glad he's accepted the fact that we shouldn't get rid of nuclear weapons. And certainly the Trident system, which we have, and we're not playing around with the Trident system, we're just replacing 4 submarines, was designed for the Moscow criteria. But we have looked time and time again at what other alternatives there are. Are they cheaper and more cost-effective? And the answer is no. The last one was even done and led by the Liberal Democrats in the coalition, and they wanted to show that it wasn't, but to their horror, they found it was. And yes, any defence system's expensive, but the Trident system will cost about 0.13% of our gross domestic product. That, to me, does not seem excessive. So to build any new system will cost more money. To build a cruise missile system, you'd have to have a lot of cruise missiles because there's uncertainty of getting to the target, and we would be breaking certain treaties, and it would cost more money. All of us would love not to have nuclear weapons. That's why it's so trite when Jeremy Corbyn says, let's not have them. Of course, no one likes nuclear weapons. No one likes fighting. I've been in 3 wars, and I can assure you being in a war is not nice. They're not nice things. But you have to be real about what's going on in the world. And I believe to ultimately protect our people in our nation in this very dangerous world, you should have this in your back pocket as the ultimate way of protecting you from nuclear blackmail. And I'm afraid that replacing 4 submarines, not changing the system is the system that is there, is the best and most cost-effective way of doing it.
Peter?
And that's a reality.
Well, in what way is it cost-effective? As I pointed out, our conventional defences, which are the ones most likely to be tested in an unstable world, particularly the Navy and the Army, have been terribly neglected and shrunken by both political parties over the past 20 years. When I was a defence correspondent in the 80s, we reliably had, for instance, always 50 frigates or destroyers. Major surface ships. Now we're way down below that. We also had an effective aircraft carrier presence in the form of the Invincible class, which is now gone and is not effectively being replaced by these enormous aircraft carriers, which at present have no aeroplanes. Also, as a country, we face other threats. And if you people want to go on about Russia, the principal problem for Russia is its increasing control of gas supplies. We face a major energy crisis in this country, and if we're seriously concerned about our strategic problems, we ought to be doing an enormous amount to replace our almost collapsed energy industry. It's very likely in the next 2 or 3 years we're going to start experiencing power cuts in winter, like a third world country. This places us at a huge strategic disadvantage. So we have all kinds of other things we should be spending money on if we wish to retain our proper independence and to face realistic threats. I'm not sure, I'm not against, and I don't wish to be congratulated for accepting that nuclear weapons are a good thing or necessary. I accepted that a long time. I campaigned against CND in the 80s. And I've been doing it ever since. But that was in a Cold War circumstance. Now it seems to me we should retain the capacity to use nuclear weapons, but recognize that the most likely circumstances in which we will go to war or need to be well armed are conventional circumstances for which we are now incredibly badly equipped. And the whole Trident Re-Newel project drains money away from both the Navy and the Army. Our Army is now smaller than the token army which Vichy France was allowed to maintain by Hitler.
Peter, I've got to cut in. Just if I could ask for 30 seconds more from each of you. Lord West of Spithead, how much is the Re-Newel going to cost, the total amount? I know you've given the amount as a percentage of GDP.
The figure the government has given is $31 billion for replacing 4 submarines. But Peter is veering and hauling wonderfully across all sorts of areas where I am very concerned. But anyone who thinks that if these Trident submarines weren't replaced, that money would be available immediately for defence is living in a dream world and doesn't understand the horrible realities of Whitehall, which is a dreadful, shambolic mess at times. We absolutely need more conventional weapons. The cuts in the SDSR in 2010 were appalling to pay off an aircraft carrier that had just been refitted, and the only aircraft that could operate from those carriers, and then say, but we are going to keep aircraft carriers. I mean, you couldn't make it up. It's just extraordinary. And so Peter is absolutely right about conventional weapons. I agree entirely about the energy policy. When I chaired the National Security Forum, I pushed really hard to try and get Gordon Brown to have a sensible policy for energy, and we have not got one. I mean, I accept all of that, and I accept that nuclear weapons are not designed for and never will be used to stop terrorism. They won't, I fear. That's not what they're there for. But I really do believe we need to have these, and it needs reach, and it needs to be seen to be credible. It's no good just having a bomb stuck away in a storeroom. For a start, that is where the first preemptive strike from an enemy would go. You've got to have a proper system.
Got the stopwatch on you as well, Lord Wester. Thank you so much for your time this morning. I'm going to give the last 30 seconds or so to Peter Hitchens. Peter, last word on this one, if you wouldn't mind.
Just be realistic, I think. The sums of money involved that Lord Wester's named will almost certainly double, as almost every government spending project does in that time. This is a colossal amount of money. And what do you get for it? Nuclear weapons prevented war in Europe for many, many years, and in fact, they destroyed the Soviet Union, which no longer existed. Trident was a weapon designed to deter the Soviet Union. It's gone. Yes, keep a nuclear weapon for absolute emergencies and extremities, but the real threats which face us need far more money spent on them, and to build a Trident replacement will make that impossible.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.